In just 92 more days, USC is going to kick off against Missouri State. And now we know what time they're going to kick off. Beat the Bears.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Culkin, and thanks for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network your first listen every day. Whether you're watching this show on YouTube, pick a platform, download this podcast. When you listen, it's going to be appreciated, and the show's always going to be free. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers, you can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. We know what time USC will start its 2025 season, all right? In fact, we know the start time now for 5 games this season. 7 down. That means there's 7 left to go. 5 kickoff times have been announced. 7 are left. TV networks kind of setting the table, getting everybody ready, giving us an idea what will be served. The first 3 games, as well as USC's home game against Northwestern, those games are all set, as well as what could probably be the last of the greatest college football rivalry of all time. So we know 5 start times and the TV networks. By the way, stick around for the Friday Rant. You always do. Stick around for Friday's Rant, 3rd segment. I'm going to talk about that potentially final time playing in Notre Dame. And you'll understand why. There's been a little bit of an update, so to speak. So game 1, August 30th, LA Coliseum, Trojans, Bears. Kickoff, 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon. All right. It's not going to be the hottest part of the day, but it's still going to be pretty damn hot. I mean, it's Labor Day weekend. It's always hot. For those of you who said, you know what, I'm not going to be part of that home opener sellout, wink, wink. Yeah, there was some heavy sarcasm there. You can at least catch it. You can watch the game on the Big Ten Network. And the reason why I'm doing that wink, wink sarcasm, again, first game of the year, hotter than Hades, Missouri State. This is Missouri State's first ever game being played as a FBS, Division I team. They're moving up to Conference USA this year. So technically, USC hasn't broken that FCS barrier yet. They are one of 2 teams. In fact, they might be the last team left that has not played an FCS level opponent. They came close with Missouri State, but Missouri State, again, joining Conference USA this year. Game number 2, we have a kickoff time. It's the second game of the season, and USC is going to see a familiar face. Yeah, Charles Clay Helton. He's coming back home. He's bringing his Georgia Southern Eagles with him. So that, kind of an interesting little side note to this game. That'll probably bring out some fans. Hopefully, USC fans, you're going to rise above. Give a golf clap. No booing. Once a Trojan, always a Trojan. Look, I get it. He left the program in a less desirable position. Still, he didn't hire him. He didn't give himself the contract. He did the best he could. So let's treat him with a little bit of respect, right? Anyways, enough of that little diatribe. USC, Georgia Southern. They're going to kick off at 4:30 as well. That game's going to be on FS1. All right, so week 2, it'll still be warm, 4:30 kickoff. If you're into tailgating, these are perfect times to start games. You get to start your tailgate in the morning, have a little bit of lunch, enjoy the games that are on TV during the day, break down and get inside in time for kickoff so you can, support the team when they're coming out of the tunnel. So USC is opening up their season with 2 games against 2 teams they've never played before. And then USC's 3rd game of the year. It has a start time now. Yep, USC's first conference game of the year. They're on the road. They're going to Purdue. West Lafayette, Indiana is a little bit closer to Chicago than South Bend, Indiana. So it keeps my drive time, we typically carpool it from Chicago to Indiana when we go to South Bend. We're probably going to be doing the same thing here for the game against Purdue. This game's going to kick off a little bit earlier. 12:30 Pacific Standard Time, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you who are not making the trip to West Lafayette, Indiana, you can watch it on CBS. So, September 13th, it's the third easy game in a 3-week time span. August 30th, September 6th, and then September 13th. This is why USC should be 3-0, right? Is even playing on the road against the Boilermakers, who we got a brand new coaching staff led by head coach Barry Odom. They've got their offensive coordinator. You're going to recognize the name Josh Henson, USC's former offensive line coach /OC. So Josh is going to try and see what he can do to help his Boilermakers upend USC and their much improved defense. USC and Purdue, the last time they played, it was 1998, USC won that game 27-17. That was at the Coliseum. I believe that was the first game of the year. And it was hot. I mean, it was 110 plus degrees. I'm not exaggerating. It was hot. One of the hottest days on record for a Southern California summer. I literally watched USC band members, Spirit of Troy guys, taken out of the Coliseum on a stretcher. Heat exhaustion. It was brutal. I know how miserable I was, so I can only imagine what those guys felt like, what the players felt like. Still, that's why they're in great shape. That's why they're making the big bucks now, right? If USC is not 3-0 to start the year, heads are going to roll. They should roll. Look, first 3 games now. Missouri State, Georgia Southern. 4:30 p.m. kickoffs at the Coliseum. 12:30 out there in West Lafayette, Indiana. You already know USC's game at Notre Dame is on October 18th. That game, I've told you about it. That was the first game that had an actual kickoff time set up. 4:30 p.m. on the West, 7:30 East Coast. Another night game. It's in South Bend. That game, if you can't make it, you can watch it on NBC. And then USC's 5th game that already has a start time set up. This one, I know USC fans, you're not going to like it. However, Friday night. Yep, so one of those Friday night games at the Coliseum. It's been announced. It's a short week for USC. They're coming home. Though they will have played at Lincoln, Nebraska the week before on a Saturday. They're coming home. Short week. Kicking off against Northwestern. 6 p.m. on a Friday night in LA. Yeah. You might remember last year USC played Rutgers on a Friday night. Really late kickoff. I mean, really late. And if you're from New Jersey, you're thinking it's 11 p.m. The game has just started. Yeah. The game on a Friday night in LA, it kicked off at 8 p.m. because the World Series is going on. The Dodgers, Yankees. So New York, they had to wait for that 11 p.m. start time. That's just how Fox does things. And yes, if you don't want to fight the traffic, you can watch the game on Fox. Big Fox. If you're in LA, that would be Channel 11. KTTV. So Chicago, they get to stay up late for this one. Again, November 7th, 6 p.m. in LA. That means it's 8 o'clock in Chicago. Not quite 11 p.m. A little bit better for those guys compared to last year. And then, USC will get an extra day to prepare for Iowa, who they'll host the week after. Look, I'm not a fan of Friday games to begin with. I'll be honest with you. And look, if USC has 0 or 1 losses when Northwestern shows up for that Friday night game, the stadium will eventually fill up. Everyone will they'll fight traffic. They'll get there if USC is, going into that game with no losses or just one loss. That means they're having a really, really good season. Also means they beat Notre Dame. Assuming that's their, if they have a loss, it might come there. Hopefully it doesn't. I mean, look, if you're going to make USC play a Friday game, here's my whole thought on it. Play it on the road. Friday night in LA, yeah, no, it doesn't work. I mean, you're asking Trojan fans, you're asking the Trojan family, hey, game kicks off at 6 p.m. It's Friday. Take off work or leave work early or drive up from Orange County. Figure out, find that window where you're not stuck in, a log jam of traffic. It's just a bad idea. It doesn't work. Logistically, it's terrible. So, if fans who aren't going to want to fight the traffic go to the Coliseum on a Friday, which again you can't even tailgate. Downtown LA, Friday, it's a nightmare. So fans are going to stay home to watch it on their big screens, or they'll, if they're at work, they don't want to wait till they get home. They'll stop off at Buffalo Wild Wings. They'll have one of those types of games. So there you go. 5 game times. Now you know. Make sure you set your alarms. You know where you need to be. No excuses. Get to the Coliseum. Don't be a bandwagon fan. Support this team. All right. We got 2 more segments to go. By the way, USC is going to be starting their official visits on the 3rd, I think is the next one, maybe the 6th. I got to check the schedule. However, I know the schedule for this one in particular player. Yeah. USC might be the front runner for the number 1 at his position. The NBA playoffs, they're in full swing. Every night's giving you highlight-worthy performances. You see major momentum shifts, and then every now and then you get a can't-miss moment. Well, FanDuel is going to make it easy to stay in the game. Before tip-off, even after it starts, when the game's going live. With player prop bets, performance trends, yeah, same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Check this out. When players are showing up to the biggest moments, some of you like to kind of track how things are going. Look at those trends. It kind of helps you build your next bet. Well, if you got a read on who's heating up, why not back it up with a same-game parlay? In fact, how would $200 on bonus bets add to the excitement if your first $5 bet wins? If you're new to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. It's that simple. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Okay, so did you catch Madden Reardon on yesterday's episode of Locked on USC? If you didn't, shame on you. Now you fully understand why I say if you're watching on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that like button. Hit that bell notification button, and you would not have missed that episode. But you still can go back and watch it when you're done with watching this episode. Madden Reardon is intelligent, he's talented, he's dedicated, and it's one of the reasons why he's one of the leaders of this class. Now, if you are an everydayer, okay, you watch the show every day, you listen to the show every day on your favorite platform, then you know USC's recruiting class of 2026, pretty close to being filled, right? There is one guy who Coach Riley and Coach Chad Savage want really badly. Chad Savage is USC's inside wide receiver / tight ends coach. Well, he's the number 1 tight end in the country. A Ross Bowers type of talent. The tight end from Georgia who was like number 1 draft pick of the NFL. Really good player. Well, Mark Bowers is in that mold. plays for Mater Dei High School. Yes, one of USC's feeder schools, backyard. Back in the beginning of May, Scott Schrader over there at wearesc.com, he wrote this. I do believe USC has a better than good shot at Mark Bowman. I'm told it's likely a USC versus Texas battle. So that was earlier this month. May is almost over. In fact, we've got one more day to go if you're watching this, on Friday, May the 30th. Steve Wiltfong, national writer for On3, wrote this today. Quote, a lot has been made about Georgia and Texas being frontrunners in the recruitment of the 5-star tight end Mark Bowman. However, the program to look out for at this point is USC. I like the way this recruitment is progressing for the Trojans. It's USC that is looking like it's USC that is looking like it has the momentum heading into the summer, which goes against what many felt was a Georgia-Texas battle. End quote. I mentioned this a few weeks ago. However, and I think this is going to play a big role in Mark Bowman's decision. Proximity, playing close to home, I think that's going to have a lot of bearing on where he decides he wants to go. He's got family down in San Diego who, that way, you come to USC, they can watch the game in person rather than having, settled to watch for it on TV or getting on an airplane going out to Texas or Georgia. So, yeah, proximity works at USC's advantage. NIL has to be pretty good as well. USC's putting together a really good package for that young man. On3 ranks Bowman as the nation's number 15 overall prospect in the class of 2026. So regardless of position, 15th best prospect in the country. That's high praise. So if USC can haul him in, I mean, he joins USC's number 2 ranked national class. Immediately, he becomes USC's highest rated prospect, regardless of the position. Now, that gives Chad Savage and Coach Riley at least 1 year with a tight end room that consists of Walker Lyons, Walter Matthews, Joey Olson, and Mark Bowman. I mean, that's a hell of a tight end room. He's listed at 6'4", 230 pounds. Watches film. Dude runs like a gazelle. I mean, he's like, you could almost categorize him as a big wide receiver, the way USC was trying to use Deuce Robinson. Big body, long arms, terrific hands. He'll fight for the ball. He's not afraid of of being physical as well. He's been on USC's campus multiple times already. His official visit is scheduled for June 17th. I've told you before, that's a very exclusive official visit date. It's what I call the VIP Select Club. These are guys who are uncommitted, but USC will wait for their decisions, and they'll make space regardless. On that date, you've got Brandon Arrington, number 1 athlete in the country, San Diego, California. You've got Kenye Pepe. By the way, he's already shut it down. The number 1 offensive tackle in USC's class. You've got Tom Tapui, who has also shut it down. If you saw or listened to yesterday's episode, Madden Reardon, you kind of let everybody know. Tom isn't just committed. He's like one of the leaders of the class now. He is like the tip of the spear trying to get guys to commit. And then 2 other guys, you got Talanoa Ely and Breck Kolajay, the offensive lineman. All of those guys are from California, save for Breck Kolajay, who's from Colorado. But USC has, they said, all right, you're the guy we want. We're not in on Malachi Lee anymore. We're not in on Sam Utu anymore. You're the dude. Those are the guys that USC wants to close their class with. Plus, there's a handful of others as well. But Mark Bowman, yeah, he is the jewel I'm not saying that Brandon Arrington isn't, up there, and those other guys that I mentioned. Talanoa Ely, obviously very important that USC secure his commitment. Number one linebacker. But getting Mark Bowman, yeah. I don't like to use the phrase can't miss, but he's one of those prospects where you look at him and say, you're right, he's probably a can't miss guy. USC just has to close the deal. Look, we're past the point of just wait till these guys decommit from USC's class. I know everybody out there is thinking this class isn't going to stay together. No. I got to remind everybody, again, we're almost in the month of June. And if you've been watching the trends, people take their visits and they're saying they're going to take their official visit and then they're going to shut it down. So yeah, there's always a possibility that guys are going to flip later down the line. It just, I don't get the sense that's going to happen with this cycle, just because there's so much uncertainty with NIL and revenue sharing, with the players, all that kind of stuff. USC's got a program in place that's working really well. And despite Kirby Smart out there kind of slinging allegations, there's a school, paying $20 to get guys to commit. Brandon Lockhart stepped up real quick and said, it's not us. I'm not getting paid. So anyways, USC's doing really well because they've got all of their ducks in a row. They've got their NIL game working. And they're focused on getting the guys they want, especially in this class from the state of California. So again, NIL's working. They're focused on California. You heard Madden Reardon say Lincoln Riley, he was the guy recruiting him the hardest. And now you're just looking to add more high character guys, more high character guys like Madden, Brandon Lockhart, Sean Alston, Deshaun Rideau. Mark Bowman would be the perfect nightcap for this class, so to speak. So that's where we're at. Yeah, USC got some good news. Looks like they might be the front runner for the number one tight end in the country. And it's not like USC doesn't have any tight ends on that roster. They just got to start using. And I think you're going to see that happen this year. Again, Lincoln Riley going through that learning curve. He had the tight end at Oklahoma. He had the running game working at Oklahoma. I think he's ready to do that again at USC, going into year 2 of the big conference at USC. One more segment to go. It's Friday. It's time for my rant. Are you ready? All right. It sucks. And I hate saying it, but USC is losing the PR war with Notre Dame right now. Yeah. Notre Dame, they're putting the full court pressure on USC. So the ball's in your court. Make it happen. Meanwhile, USC fans, Trojan family, they're responding with, we don't care. It means nothing. Winning the PR game, that means nothing. Yeah. We have literally crossed that bridge, USC fans. You have jumped the shark. And these are the things USC fans are upset about. They are more upset about, a guy named Hayes Fawcett who, puts together those commitment edits for the recruits, decommitment notes. He'll tweet that out there. USC fans will say, he put out a tweet a little over a week ago. These are the players from the state of Georgia that USC has lost out on or decommitted. But USC fans are upset because, Oregon's class has fallen apart left and right, and everybody, all the national guys are silent about it. So Oregon's class falling apart, and no one, like the Hayes Fawcett's of the world, they're not going to tweet about it. They're not going to throw any shade. So that has USC fans ready to curb stomp them. That's what USC fans are upset about. They're not upset about the fact that USC and Notre Dame might not play. No, they're worried about that instead. Don't get me wrong. I would laugh out loud if it happened. if Hayes Fawcett said, "Hey, look at all these players from the state of California that Oregon's flamed out on," I would laugh out loud. I would laugh out loud at Oregon. One, because it's a cool hobby to have, just laughing at Oregon fans. But I've literally seen more Trojan fans get upset about that than I've seen USC fans get upset about the USC Notre Dame rivalry possibly coming to an end, and that just blows my mind. USC fans think that Notre Dame's calling all the shots, and that USC needs to have the upper hand, because they play in a conference. Notre Dame doesn't. There's speculation that USC is, concerned with the timing of this out-of-conference game and how it can have an effect on, their playoff chances. So the argument or the compromise would be, to move this game, USC versus Notre Dame, to the beginning of the season. Or if that doesn't happen, USC fans, their thought is, screw Notre Dame. They're not in a conference. I can't wrap my head around this. So, okay. All right. I said USC's losing this PR game. Here's why. Marcus Freeman, he is literally willing to call USC's poker play bluff. Again, USC says we want to sign a 1-year contract for 2026. We want to just see how this new playoff format is going to be situated. And then, we want to play this game forever as well. It was a statement, but it wasn't as strong as this one. This is the one from Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame's head coach, which comes on the heels of their athletic director saying, we want to play this game until we die, essentially. Excuse me. So Marcus Freeman tweeted out, we want to play USC every year. Quote, it's pretty black and white for me. You want my opinion? I want to play them every single year. When? I don't care. I don't care when we play them. Start of the season, middle of the season, end of the season. I don't care. I want to play USC every year because it's great for college football. End quote. All right, USC. As they say during the NFL draft, you're on the clock. What's the holdup now? I think until the new playoff format is voted in on, USC is going to drag this out. Do I think they're going to play in 2026 at the Coliseum? Yes. So sure, absolutely. If USC offered a 1-year wait-and-see deal, Notre Dame should sign that one. Show up in November 2026 in LA. Is that okay, USC fan? Or is playing UCLA and Notre Dame back-to-back all of a sudden becoming too much for the Trojan football family? Is that what you're against? Because up until last year, I've never heard anybody saying USC and Notre Dame shouldn't be playing at the end of the year. Not back-to-back. It's never come up. It's never been an issue. It was tradition. It was part of USC's identity. Anyone, any place, anytime. I'll tell you what, Trojan family. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror and you have to admit, this is not how we're supposed to be looking. USC's losing the PR game. Notre Dame, at least according to their head coach, Marcus Freeman, will play the game when USC wants. Look, if this was 7-card stud playing, if you were playing poker and this was 7-card stud, the last card is going to be down and dirty. It's USC's play. Notre Dame pushed their chips all in. So, Trojan family, USC, powers that be, are you all in? Or are you going to fold? Tell you what, better be all in. There's no reason. Just make a statement. Something a little bit more positive. Give USC fans something to say, hey, all right, Notre Dame, look, we're doing this. Now, what are you going to do? But right now, Notre Dame is kind of writing the narrative. And it's not a good look for the Trojans. I don't care how you spin it. I get it, Trojan family. You're going to defend, and you should. you got to be honest. Right now, it doesn't look like USC wants to play this game because they want to protect their chance to make the playoffs. Yeah. I get it. Going to the playoffs is the end game, winning a national championship. But you're not increasing your chances significantly by avoiding Notre Dame. Nor should you. All right, there you go. That's my Friday rant again. Kind of just feels like Notre Dame 2, USC 0 when it comes to the PR game. Or maybe Notre Dame's leading by a field goal. I'll be back with another 5 episodes next week. We are heading into official visit season, so there's going to be a lot of recruiting talk to talk about. Anything else that comes down the pike as it relates to USC. Don't forget today, you're watching this episode, USC is playing in the NCAA baseball tournament. They're taking on TCU, 12:30 p.m. West Coast, ESPNU. Check it out. All right, until that next episode of Locked On USC. Remember, when you're not here, get on over there to wearesc.com. A lot of content. By the way, there are some questions that I did not ask Madden Reardon. I wrote an article about it over there. Go check it out. Some answers he gave off camera, and I think you're going to like it. All right. Till that next episode, everyone, you know what to do.